An opening prayer, and then we'll get started with our program.
Let us pray. Our gracious God and Father, we honor you and we thank you for you have done all things well. We commit this program into your hands. We commit our speakers, our presenters. We commit the leader of this county, Mrs. Also Brooks, and her team. Every member of her team, we commit them into your hands. We pray for those who are on their way. You bring them safely to us, Lord, and help us that we will all glean from what is presented today, and we be all better off for what we have learned and experienced this afternoon. I commit the entire program into your hands. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sam Iwu, and I'm the Director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs in the Office of the County Executive. It's my honor and privilege to welcome everyone to a roundtable in the effort of the County Executive to get the government closer to every resident of the county. It's a remarkable thing that the county executive, before she was elected into office, made a promise to the immigrant population in the county that you were going to have a seat at the table, and she did do that. She engaged. It was unfortunate that her blessing into the office was a worldwide event. In the midst of assembling her team, she was faced with the pandemic. Despite that, and despite not having enough time to get other things done, she still went ahead to open the Office of Multicultural Affairs. And one of the first things she did was to engage different segments of the immigrant population in the county, wanting to get firsthand knowledge of what's going on. What's so remarkable of the county executive is her energy. She's a genuine human being. She cares for every single member of the county. She not only says it, she walks the walk. It's always a privilege when you work with someone that you're trying to keep up with her, but it's impossible. She's always on the move. I'm so blessed and honored that she was able to create time. If you all know this lady's time schedule, you wonder how she finds time to do anything. So please help me. I'm going to hand over to John, to the Deputy Chief of Staff, John Erzin, to help introduce one of the awesomest ladies you ever meet.
Thank you, Sam, and I'll be brief because I know that you all want to hear from our county executive, and we certainly want to get into our presentations and into our discussion this afternoon. Just a couple of very quick housekeeping notes. When we start the presentations, we have 4 agencies who are going to be presenting for you today. The Office of Central Services, the Department of Permitting and Inspections and Enforcement, our Economic Development Corporation, and our Office of Human Rights. Each agency will have up to about 20 minutes to present. So you'll notice with some of the presentations, they're not going to stop on every slide. They're going to go through and get to some of the key information that we know you want to hear about. But we will be, as everyone who signed in today, we got all of your information. We will be sending all of these presentations out to everyone who's here today. So you'll have an opportunity to take a look at them more in depth. And Sam and the members of our Office of Multicultural Affairs will be available for you if we need to set up additional time for you to talk with the agencies about any other information in the presentations. Additionally, thank you to everyone who submitted questions ahead of time. We are going to go through those today. That's why we're only going to do about 20 minutes for each presentation. We want to have plenty of time for Q&A. Also, as you were coming in, there were note cards for you to write down a question if you have one for today. We would appreciate if you'd write your question down there along with your contact information. That way, any question we don't get to today, we will follow up with you specifically to answer your question or get you connected with someone in the agencies who can walk you through whatever your question or your issue may be. So as you're filling those cards out and you have questions, feel free just to hold them up. We'll make sure to come around and collect them so we have them. Again, if we don't get to it today, we will follow up because we absolutely want to make sure that everyone understands today is a beginning. It is not meant to be a one-time conversation at all. It is meant to be an ongoing dialogue between all of you and between the county government. So what I'd like to do from here so we can get started, I'll turn things over to our county executive for some welcoming remarks. I don't think I can do much better than what Sam did, so I will just bring her right up. And then we'll have an opportunity to introduce the rest of our team.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's so great to see so many of you, and it is especially nice to be here in the Ebenezer Church of God. And so I want to thank the church for opening its doors to us today and welcoming us into this beautiful, beautiful edifice. It is intentional that we are hosting this meeting today here in the community and not in an office building. And the reason for that is because we believe this is the most important connection we make, is to come to you, to bring the government to you, and to really emphasize the importance of the partnership that we share with all of you. I want to thank John Erzin for his introduction and for the work that he does as our Deputy Chief of Staff. And then Sam Iwu, who is our Director of Multicultural Affairs. Certainly want to thank him so much as well for his incredible leadership. I'm looking around. He talked about my energy. Oh, there he goes. Okay, I was going to say he's working pretty hard himself as well as the rest of the team in Multicultural Affairs. We're so proud of the work that they have done. In fact, they are a first impression, meaning that this is the first of its kind to exist in a county executive's office. And so they've had to create it from scratch. But it has been important for us to engage every segment of our community because we believe how that all of us are so very important, and most especially the Caribbean community in Prince George's County. Now, I can tell you that we are very proud of the large and growing Caribbean community that we have here in Prince George's. And oh, by the way, before I say that, I want to thank all of our other leaders from inside our government who are here today. They will introduce themselves very soon. You'll hear from a number of them who are on the panel. I know that we also have many others who are in our audience, including Jonathan Butler, who is Director of our Office of Central Services, who hosted a really wonderful event earlier today. I suspect you're going to hear lots of exciting details about what we have done with our small, local, and minority business. So I won't spoil the surprise. I'll wait and let you hear a lot about that as well. And Dr. Ariola, who is here as well, want to thank him, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Health and Human Services. Want to thank him for being here. I know that we have, I'm going to get in trouble, Karen Sylvester. Want to thank so much for being here also. And then hiding in the back, he says he's a visitor today. I don't know what this means. Walter Simmons, who can never be a visitor any place. He's so well known to have done such tremendous work over Employ Prince George's County. And then we are in good stead. This is the safest room right now in the National Capital area because you can see we have the leadership of our police department here and none other than our Chief of Police, Malik Aziz, who is here. I want to thank him and thank all of the leaders of our police department who are here today. So again, I want to just highlight a couple of points that I think are important to set the tone. I won't be up here very long. But it is the case that there are over 83,000 Caribbean immigrants that reside in the National Capital Region. And we are, Prince George's County, the proud home to over a quarter of that population called Prince George's County home. And so our Caribbean community is an indispensable part of Prince George's County. You are a part of our classrooms, workplaces, and houses of worship. And your businesses employ and serve so many of our residents. Yet you still take the opportunity to do something that is so amazing. That is to introduce to others the culture that has helped to shape you. You have shared so generously with the rest of us. For example, whether it is through the numerous restaurants in the area, and I have to tell you, I frequent those restaurants, enjoying the fine dining that comes. or whether it is celebrating Caribbean heritage through festivals and many other things. We know that Prince Georgians enjoy so much being immersed in the beautiful culture that you share with us. And because you are a part of this community, we believe that you deserve to have your concerns heard by each of us. And that is why we are here today to serve you. It is the case, again, that you will hear from many of our agency leads today about what we're up to in terms of economic development and how we are growing business opportunities in the county. But I can tell you that I am so very proud of where Prince George's County is and where we're headed. And I am most especially proud of the fact that we have really worked to be inclusive, to celebrate every segment of our community with great results. You're going to hear again about the very intentional efforts we have made to grow business in the small, local, and minority business area. You're going to hear about the successes that we've had, and you're going to hear about what is come to come. So I won't go through each of the points that I intended to share with you up here for about 20, 25 minutes. I won't do that to you today because I believe you're going to hear it from the panelists, and then we're going to answer your questions. But again, I just want to thank Ebenezer Church of God for having us today, and definitely want to thank all of you for what you do to make, Mayor Nimhart. And how can I ever be in the room without introducing our mayor as well and thanking her for her leadership and all the work that she has done. But to tell you that we are stronger because of each of you, and that we are so looking forward to continuing to grow Prince George's County economically, to grow jobs and income, and to make sure that all of us have the opportunity to enjoy what is the American dream. So thank you all so much again, and I'm going to hand the program back over to our panelists.
Good. Thank you, Ms. Also Brooks. Real quick before we start with our panelists, let's just do a quick run through and introduction of all of the team from the county government who's here today. You guys have met Sam Iwu, the Director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and he has his team with him. I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Samantha Howard, the New Latino Affairs Liaison. I started 1 week ago, so nice to be here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sylvia Desi. I am the African Diaspora Liaison.
And then we'll do our panelists right at the end. I want to grab everybody who's in the audience here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Barbara Holtz-Streeter, and I serve as the Director of Strategic Partnerships. Good afternoon. My name is Lori Paris. I'm the Senior Advisor to the Director of Department of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement.
Good afternoon, Sami Areola. I'm the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Health, Human Services, and Education. Good to see you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Butler, Director for the Office of Central Services. Happy to be here.
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Kelly. I am the Outreach Manager in Supplier Development and Diversity Division.
And we'll go down now through our panelists.
Good afternoon. My name is Lamont Hinton, Deputy Director of the Office of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement. Happy to be here today.
Good afternoon. My name is Renee Battle Brooks, Executive Director of the Prince George's County Office of Human Rights. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Abraham. I'm the Acting Director for the Department of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement. While I got this chance, though, I want to say something because this is a church. I want to give a testimony, short testimony, if you allow. This county executive is here today. I watched her closely because I work for her. Like Sam said earlier, Sam said that the county executive allows immigrants to be at the table. I'm one of them. The reason I'm here on this table is because county executive was so brilliant. I saw her. A leader is tested by fire. During the COVID time, 2.5 years, I saw Ms. Angela also Brooks being the best leader. I could put her any leader in the entire United States county because she preserved our safety. She protected our jobs. I'm talking about the county employees, and she kept us safe and sound. She is a truly great leader. Thank you.
That's a hard act to follow. Hello, I'm Pamela Dickerson. I'm the Deputy Director for OCS, the Office of Central Services. I manage the Office of Procurement, the Supplier Development and Diversity, as well as compliance units. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a blessing to be here today. My name is Deborah Carter. I am the Executive Director of the Supplier Development and Diversity Division, and I'm so happy. I look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Larry Hintz. I am the Executive Director of Business Development for the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation.
Thank you, everybody. Real quick, I do just want to give our Chief of Police an opportunity.
Hello, everyone. If you can't tell, I'm the Chief of Police, Malik Aziz. I'm just wearing this uniform for looks.
Right, and I know we may hear from a few others as we get to the question and answer, but we do want to go ahead and get started with the presentation. So we are actually going to start first with the Economic Development Corporation. I'm going to turn it back over to Larry. And just real quick, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are some slides in each presentation that we'll go through very quickly, trying to hit on some of the very main points. But again, we will share all of these with everyone via email after the event today. Oh, I'm sorry. And so we are going to hold questions until the end. We want to let all the presentations come, and then we'll start with some of the pre-submitted questions. And again, if you have questions in the audience, we can collect your cards as we go through, and we'll go through those as well. They are in the back. We will make sure that we get them around and that everybody has them.
Okay. Testing. I guess someone will change the slides for me as we go through. Okay. Yeah, there we go, over here. Again, my name's Larry Hintz. I'm the Executive Director of Business Development for the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation. In a nutshell, we're committed to two basic things. Our goal is to increase the commercial tax base here in the county and also the number of full-time jobs within the county. Oh, please, next. I'm sorry. Okay. We focus on economic growth. We focus on the business atmosphere and educational attainment. These tend to be the part of the important ingredients to increasing the commercial tax base within the county and also the number of full-time jobs. Now, well, I already covered this. I should mention, though, one thing that's important to us is transit-oriented development. That means basically, in this particular case, to build around metro sites. That is not only living opportunities, but also work opportunities. Thanks. Focusing right now on data centers, quantum computing. Please don't ask me a question about that. Other than I know these are computers that work very, very fast. That's as technical as I can get. Healthcare, medical facilities, I'm sorry for that one, and quality retail and targeting grocery stores attraction. So, next. This has to do with employment. Obviously, we were leading the state of Maryland in job growth for 5 consecutive years, then COVID showed up. The good news is we've gained back almost all of those jobs in comparison. We at one time at our height we were at over 324, we're now around 312. So we continue our recovery. Next. Core business services. In a nutshell, these are the tools that we use to help the business community. We help with site selection. We'll help you with permitting. What does that mean? We will work on your behalf with you as you go through the permitting process with the Office of DPI. They have a business representative on their side. I'm not going to steal their thunder and let them speak about themselves. When it comes to site selection, what we'll do is work with your commercial broker Understanding your particular needs, our goal is to work with them to help you find sites that are on the market now, but also potential sites that will become possibly available at a later date and or are quietly being available. I would like to mention also, we will work with you in regarding the things that what we call pre-submission meetings with the DPI office. If you have a large, complicated project or a very tight timeline, it may be effective and efficient to meet as a group before you submit for your permits. And then depending on the project, you may need additional meetings as you go through the process. Let's see. We have several other incentives, which we'll talk about next. Our biggest and my favorite one is the EDIF, Economic Development Incentive Fund. Technically, it's a $50 billion fund that is available. It falls into two basic categories. One, a traditional loan, or something you in the private sector would call a grant. We call them conditional loans. You meet the conditions of the loans, which are being deferred, then at the appropriate time, they are translated into which you would call a grant. Now, their minimum dollar amount is $250,000. On an average year, we put somewhere between 9 to 11 million out on the street for this loan. Yes, you can use it to buy land. Yes, you can use it to buy a building. Yes, you can use it to buy equipment, working capital also. But the main point of this loan or this opportunity we have, the EDI fund, has to do with what we call gap financing. Just to simplify it, because honestly, I haven't had lunch, so I need to keep things simple. If your project costs $10, but you were only able to raise $8, your gap is $2. Again, the minimum amount is $250,000. Okay. Don't move yet. Okay. We have various tax credits that are available to you, depending on your geographical location, depending on your type of business that you also have. And again, for example, data centers are in there now. There is something called a grocery store tax credit, something that's very important to our community. We understand very clearly because I personally live in the county. Not to mention, I hear it clearly from our county executive in her office, the need for greater and better quality grocery stores in Prince George's County. And it's a complicated issue, but trust me, we're extremely committed to it, and we offer special incentives and support just for that purpose. Workforce training. Maybe we can get Walter to come up and talk about those things a little later. And we have various other tax credit incentives that are available. Next slide, please. Small business. We support small business, which is the dominance of what exists in Prince George's County, using the basic standard that the SBA uses. Almost 90% of our businesses in Prince George's County are small businesses. And let me be clear, we need both small, medium, and large businesses to work together in order to have a type of ecosystem that is truly effective and growing. That being said, we focus on small business. We offer several training workshops. We have various access to financing that are not controlled necessarily by the EDC, but we're aware of these various programs and will work with you on obtaining these programs. And we also help with site selection and other things too. I want to suggest to you that you would go visit our website. There are many programs that are coming available now specifically for small businesses and also for small business owners. Next slide, please. These are just some of the successful programs that we've done in the past. A few are being operated also at this time. I could take a shameless plug and say, watch Business Spotlight because I get to be the host of that show, but I won't say that. One of my favorite ones is by Prince George's, all kidding aside. It came about during the time of COVID when we were all in very unique circumstances. What we realized was not only were we concerned about our health, we were concerned about our business community. So we came up with a program to focus on and to point out and help lift up businesses, small businesses that are in Prince George's County. If you would like to have your business be part of the By Prince George's, you can go to our website and fill out this simple application and follow the instructions, and it will be added in there. Let's go. Takeout Tuesday. I don't want to talk about food because I haven't had lunch. I must talk about Takeout Tuesday. Takeout Tuesday is a program also that was started during the COVID period. And as you know, hospitality was greatly affected by COVID-19. So we focused on those restaurants in the county that had delivery and takeout opportunities. And it was so successful that we continue to operate with it. Let's go. Retail strategy. Here it is in a nutshell. There are three things that you must have in regarding that: education, income, and density. If you have all three, you'll have access to any and all types of businesses that are available in the open market. Two of the three will get you some, but if you want to see them all, you must have all three. And let me be very clear, that means that this must exist during the day. So you must have a daytime heavy density as well as a nighttime heavy density, education and income. That translates into what is believed from retailers as disposable income. But that's the secret sauce. Next. Just some of the recent business attractions we've achieved in Prince George's County, working with our business community, working with you as citizens and getting direction and understanding of what's important to you. Next. I think we're all done. So, thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Larry. And as you heard, EDC has several opportunities to help businesses. They have funding opportunities, ways to spotlight your business, and several other opportunities there. And you'll have an opportunity to take a look at that presentation as we send it out. But even with some of the things Larry was talking about, as you go to their website and take a look, if there's ever any questions you have, if you need assistance filling any of those things out, working through those processes, I can tell you that EDC is very responsive. But if there is ever an issue, I can also tell you the Office of Multicultural Affairs is very responsive and will continue to be responsive. And you can always reach out directly to them, and we can help you make the connections needed to go through the different processes that Larry was talking about. Now, the next agency that we're going to hear from is the Office of Central Services. And I know in a lot of the pre-submitted questions, we got a lot of questions talking about how can we know what resources are out there, what's available for our business. You heard about a few of the things that EDC has, and now as we turn it over to OCS, Pamela Dickerson will be able to talk to you about many of the different things they have specifically geared towards minority business.
John, if you don't mind, I'll set the stage here a little bit.
All right, very good. Good afternoon again. I'm Jonathan Butler, Director for the Office of Central Services. So the Office of Central Services, I always like to say we have sort of our hands in many cookie jars here in Prince George's County. We are relatively a large, multifaceted agency that's responsible for facility operations and maintenance of about 5 million square feet of space here in Prince George's County. We're responsible for the repair, maintenance, and management of county fleet vehicles, which is well over 3,000 vehicles. We're responsible for the provisioning or the procuring of goods and services at about almost $500 million annually. We're also responsible for real estate, so we serve as a landlord for a lot of these buildings, where we also have agency tenants in about 300,000 square feet of space here in Prince George's County. We do the surplus and disposition of a lot of the land, where we actually take surplus land and actually market and monetize it and bring revenue back to the county. We've done a number of acres over the last several years, a couple of millions of dollars, where we've actually sold land back to the residents of Prince George's County. One of the gateways we're going to talk about today is actually supplier development and diversity, where we are the advocacy arm for small and minority businesses, providing training and technical assistance as well as certification. And so those are just some of the major components. I also like to mention our General Services Division, because I think it's a phenomenal division, and it's more internal that many of you probably will not see. but it's a 100,000 square foot warehouse that's not too far from here, that served really as an internal Walmart to the agencies within the county, providing everything from bed sheets to the Department of Corrections to paper to the other agencies. So the county executive mentioned an event that we held today, and this was our Minority Construction Industry Day. This is where we profile about $600 million in capital construction opportunities for minority businesses throughout Prince George's County. And this is for certified businesses. And this is what we're going to talk about a little bit, sort of that gateway into doing business with Prince George's County, with the county government, is going through that certification process. We're also going to talk a little bit about the programs that we've put in place, the supply schedule, which I love that program because it is one that's going to put contracts directly in your hands. It actually covers about 10 categories, from financial management services to advertising services to industrial supplies and medical supplies. It covers about what the county governments will purchase, or county government agencies will purchase on a recurring basis, at least 50 to 60% of what we purchase on a recurring basis. So that's an important program. It is actually exclusive to county-based small and minority businesses. Large companies cannot get on that schedule. And it is our first source for actually the procurement of goods and services. We also kicked off the Mentor Protege program. Love that program as well. It is one where we actually match up large non-minority or large to middle-sized non-minority firms with certified county-based small and minority businesses to actually go after opportunities. They enter into 2-year agreements where these large firms are responsible for providing financial, operational, and business capacity to our small and minority businesses. And in turn, they get to kind of take these businesses in their back pockets to actually be in compliance with some of the small business goals, the robust small business goals that we've set. So just wanted to kind of set the stage. Pamela and Deborah will talk with you about the gateway. There are a couple of gateways into doing business with the county, but I think, two of the majors are here within the Office of Central Services, which is contracting and procurement and also certification. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. I'm Deborah Carter, the Executive Director of the Supplier Development and Diversity Division. So we're going to talk about the first steps in doing business with Prince George's County. Next. As mentioned, the Supplier Development and Diversity Division, actually, in terms of our mission, we advocate for the small businesses, in addition to forging strategic partnerships through outreach events. We also provide technical training and development, and also we are the official certification agency for Prince George's County for the small business community. Next. We talk about benefits of certification, and certification is the key to your pursuing opportunities. So you have greater exposure to county government and private sector contracting opportunities, and also the certified firms appear in the Supplier Development Diversity Directory, which we nickname CCS, which is also used by prime contractors and consultants. The original software is B2G, and we nicknamed it Certification Compliance System. That's what CCS stands for. Seeking county-based and MBE business participation. So the CCS vendor directory is also in real time. Next, please. In terms of the types of certifications that are offered, these are the acronyms, and of course, you have the CBB, which is the county-based businesses, CBSB, which is the county-based small businesses, CLB is the county-located businesses, and MBE, minority business enterprise, which is a reciprocal process. And the most important thing I want you to take away from here is that in order to get certified or going through the process, the certification process is free in Prince George's County. So what is it? Is it free? Say that? It's free. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. In terms of the mandatory vendor registration, And my colleague here, and actually the deputy, is going to probably address this more in another slide, so we'll skip this for now. Next. County-based business certification snapshot. So these are the list of all of the requirements. Each of these certification types have a requirement. So you must be headquartered in Prince George's County, with a lease or rental agreement, a proof of real estate ownership, established business for at least 1 year, at least 12 months, certificate or proof of good standing from the Maryland Department of Assessment and Taxation, which is located in Annapolis, Maryland, previous year's federal tax returns or extensions, the articles of incorporation, a list of at least 3 business references. And if you don't have 3, we'll take 2 if you have 1 on the way, okay? List of 3 comparable past performances performed in Prince George's County within the past 3 years. Next slide, please. County-based small business certification. This is the snapshot. It's pretty similar. The difference between a county-based small business and a county-based business is actually the size, right? Depending on the industry standards. And so you basically are meeting the same types of requirements. So headquartered in Prince George's County, meeting the business size standards in compliance with COMAR, with the Code of Maryland Regulations, with gross receipts and number of employees. So your industry code in which your certification, on which you're certifying, also will align with the Code of Maryland Regulations, and that will determine whether you are county-based small business or county-based business. Only certified firms can fulfill the participation goals in solicitations in the county. Next slide, please. Okay, MBE certification. This is a reciprocal process. It's a reciprocal program. I actually had oversight of this program when I worked for the state of Maryland. I understand it very well in terms of the fact that these are all the affiliate agencies where you can get certified for your MBE. The most popular one is the Maryland Department of Transportation, or MDOT, as we call it. So you can go through WMATA, you can go through the Capital Region Minority Supplier Development Council, also the parent company here, which is the same. You can go through any of these affiliates and get your MBE certification, and then you come to the county for the reciprocal application process, and then the process is what? Thank you. That's great. Next slide, please. These are the MBE classifications upon which you have to be 51% owned and operated. Okay, pretty standard, African American, Hispanic, Native American, and so forth. Next slide, please. The MBE requirements. Now, this application, in terms of being notarized, does not have to be notarized. This is when they were using the paper application process. So, because we're going through a software system, you're submitting your information through that application. And therefore, the copy of the current certification document from one of the following, also financial statements, copy of the supplier's most recent federal income tax return or extension letter, and certificate of good standing. Next. County located business. You still have to be in business at least 12 months. However, with a county located business, it means that you have, you're actually in another county perhaps, and then you want to move to Prince George's County, and you've only been in, you're operating outside of the county. So it's called a county located business as far as the parent company, and then you'll have another facility within the county. So when you be normally certified as a county located business, and then after you've been in the county with a new office for 12 months, then you can transition to the CBSB, from the CLB to the CBSB, county-based small business. Next slide, please. Site visits. Okay, the MBE certification requires a site visit. And after COVID, they changed it to actually accepting photographs. And so we came up with a similar requirement for us, where temporary procedures for conducting site visits. So since the Department of Transportation and all the other MBE certification agencies accepted snapshots, we of course continue to accept the photos as well. So there are 10 photos where you would have to take of your business, such as your address, your physical street name. If you have inventory, like you're, let's say, in the asphalt business, so you have dump trucks, so you want to take a picture of the inventory and so forth. So all of these help us in terms of having, conducting we accept as far as a full-fledged site visit. Next. Okay, the certification application highlights. Okay, we have what is called the Prince George's County Business Highway, which is a one-stop shop for everything, for certification, for vendor registration, which is different from vendor certification. And so it basically, this is the URL address here, and you would simply, in order to become a certified vendor, you could go to our main website, the OCS, and you would find the business highway there. And you would click on become a certified vendor or renew certification to start your certification process. Now, there are delays sometimes with your receiving your official certification letter. It's only because you failed to have all of your documents in order to upload them into the software. So that's where the delays come from. We have been known to turn certifications around normally within 1 to 3 days. The average is 5 days or less, but it's certainly the norm anywhere on average of 3 days. Okay? We also send out notifications or emails from for 45 days, 30 days, or 14 days to remind you, because you must recertify annually. And once again, certification is what? That's right. Next slide. Okay, and submitting the application, you'll be notified by email. So pretty much went through this. And then we also have, this is the supplier development diversity email address and or the phone number if you should need to have a personal contact. So next slide, please. Training and workshops, okay? On the first Tuesday of every month, we hold the business certification overview training. So if you need help to navigate through the CCS, this is the link where you can actually register for that certification process. And I have my outreach manager right here, Chris Kelly. He does a phenomenal job. He's actually the instructor, and it's virtual, so you can be at the beach, right? Trying to go through this certification class. All right. And then, of course, on the second Tuesday of each month, we hold the CCS Business Certification Application Workshop, which basically helps you to learn how to navigate through the application if you're having difficulty, not necessarily just the certification process. And these are our upcoming events, which this one, the OCS Minority Construction Industry Day was held today. And then we have 2 coming up with Luminous and Care First. Next. Okay, and now at this point, thank you very much. I will turn this over to my colleague, Pamela Dickerson. Thank you.
She is turning it over for me to turn it over to John. Hopefully you guys caught all of that. I am the deputy director for procurement. Does everyone understand what procurement is? We're all procurement experts in the house. Yes, yes. Well, unfortunately, I cannot share anymore with you. However, we did ensure that we did make our slides very bulky so that you can understand a little more outside of the SD3 portion of the agency. I am available and always available to answer calls, but we will, I guess, continue this at another time, but we were not able to do that today. Because
No, if you want to go ahead and just real quick go through momentum, because I know that's something you want to be able to share with them, and that's
the mentor
something.
protege.
And the mentor protege, just those two, if we can highlight
did.
those.
He touched on it, and we have slides that go really into the meat and potatoes of it. Well, very quickly, if we can skip a few slides, we can go to this one right here. As Deborah said earlier, we do have the business highway. This is, as she said and the director said, is a one-stop shop for you guys to try to understand procurement in the county. The thing with this is, as soon as you hit this, you can go to the next slide, I think. Oh, go back, I'm sorry. Whenever you guys look here, you will see that it has the Prince George's Supply Schedule, the Mentor Protege Program, our Green Book, which analyzes and it highlights all the procurements that will be available to you here in the county. We have Finding Opportunities, which is our solicitation portal for you to go in and see all of those excellent opportunities for county-based businesses, as well as Building Capacity. That's just going to give you more information on what you can do in order for you to, once again, conduct business with the county. And then the part that Deborah spoke on, which is the Get Certified, and then the vendor registration. We cannot tell you enough. Getting a registration is not becoming certified, okay? We say it along the website, but we do want to stress that there is a delineation between registration and certification. Registration allows you to be able to utilize the portal, receive solicitations and things of that sort. The certification allows you or affords you the opportunity to bid on county-based business opportunities that's set aside for just you. So you do want to pay attention, you do want to get certified, and you do want to contact either Deborah or Chris or anyone else on that team. And I'm also always available if you guys ever need me. Thank you.
And thank you very much, and apologies that we had to speed that up a little bit. We do want to make sure that we get to the question and answer portion and have the good discussion here today. But again, for those central service opportunities, any notes you may have taken with what they shared, and as you're going through the presentation, we send it to you again. The Office of Multicultural Affairs will be a liaison for all of you to make sure that we get you connected with the right people in the Office of Central Services who can help walk you through the certification process and anything else that you may need there. And certainly you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions here in a few minutes. We have two more presentations we're going to go through very quickly. We're going to go to DPI next. And they will talk briefly about some of the questions we received ahead of time in terms of what's being done to address some of the challenges that we all know have existed within DPI and some of the staffing issues as well. And they'll be able to address those in going through some of their information. One housekeeping that I wanted to do before we went to that, for those of you who've been writing down questions, if you have those ready, if you can just hold those up, we will come around and collect those from you. So we have those ready to go as soon as we get to that part of our program. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Lamont Hinton, Deputy Director with the Office of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement. I just want to take the opportunity while they're queuing up the presentation that the office is working tirelessly to work with each and every one of you and the residents in the small business community and large business community to ensure that this agency doesn't hinder you from being an obstacle. That is something that we're taking very seriously. As I left the office today, the acting director, Abraham, and I, we went out on a walkthrough this morning, and we came back and we had our lobby full of people who were receiving customer service, one-on-one attention from our residents who are using our new system called Momentum. And we had staff members working with them via in the office. So we're confident that our resources that we have available each and every day will impact the economic development of this county. We do not want DPI to be a problem for economic development in this county. So we have heard some of the concerns. We've taken the necessary steps to to move the agency forward. And with the help with the county exec, we have the additional resources that which we need, and we have moved those people on. So I see the presentation is available now, and I'll move forward with it. Oh, 1 second. I'm trying to... Huh? No, I cannot see. I will also tell you that the acting director Abraham, has 10 key initiatives that kind of fold into our presentation today, and the staff is dedicated to those 10 key initiatives. I think I'm almost there. And some of those key initiatives talk about hiring and making sure we reduce their attrition rate. We speed up the hiring process. We focus on momentum. We begin to get more customer service. As I travel around the county, like many of you know, we meet regularly with business leaders and small community groups on a regular basis. Sometimes in churches, at community centers, and we talk about DPI. As I said earlier today, we were on a walkthrough where we were in a neighborhood. We walked the entire neighborhood. We pointed out issues. We educated residents on issues. And I will go through some of those topics here in a few minutes here. And while he's kind of doing that, let me just go through. I get the cue from my senior advisor over here. DPI is comprised of 5 divisions. And those divisions are, enforcement, inspections, building plan review, permitting and licensing, and we also have the administrative services division. I would also tell you that each of the operating divisions are unique in itself, right? And are unique in itself, whereas they will impact each and every one of you on a regular experience. Some of the key initiatives are involved just being more customer service friendly. Recently, I met with the business leaders, and I heard the concerns of being more customer service focused, right? So one of the things that I dedicated myself to is setting up a training for all of our staff members to see how the DPI experiences interact with the various residents on a regular basis. Too often, we get focused on just doing our job and not realizing the customer experience. We have a responsibility to enforce, to educate, but also do it in a respectable manner. And too often, when you have the word enforcement behind in your title, it becomes more of a negative connotation than a positive connotation, and we are working tirelessly to impact that. One of the issues is we're in the process of pushing out a system called Momentum, right? So that system is up and running, and it's working very well. We have major businesses, major corporations, small businesses that are interacting with it on a regular basis. That process is also going to help streamline. Is the presentation? Yeah, there we go. So speed up a little bit more. One more, couple more. All right, so DPI, talk about DPI being in an overview, 5 divisions, operating division, arranged to groups. So we can go to the next one. We talked about the key initiatives, simplifying its permitting, inspection, and enforcement license process. That is something that we have heard tirelessly over the years, that people want the process to be expedited. Next. Permitting and license division is broken up into basically a one-stop shop. Next, we can keep going here. A building plan review. These are just basically an overview of the various divisions and what they do. We have taken the opportunity to email the presentation to you, and in the presentation there are hyperlinks where you can click on that presentation and go through. We can speed up to the next one as well. Next, site roads, one of the other divisions and what they do. Inspections. That's another division. Next, enforcement. Next, helpful tips to the Caribbean business community. Next, here's some important contact information that we want to share with you. and then in the number and the phone and contact information. And again, this is available via the via when we email it to you, and then it has the hyperlinks into it. Next, please. If you have a business or professional rental license expiring, these are some of the helpful links for business licenses, rental licenses, or professional licenses, and the various professional licenses that what you need. Next, sir. Momentum. DPI has momentum. Our momentum is here. I think we've issued close to almost, at this point, we've probably issued close to 10,000 permits in the community, which is a tremendous feat thus far. Next. Some of the, if you have issues or concerns or about invoices, we have the major contacts in the here present today. Those contacts are on site, available to assist you each and every day, and they're very, very, very responsive. How do we make the payments fees? They're like, here are the links. It talks about, like I said, when we email it, you'll be the various hyperlinks where you can click on it, goes directly to a payment processing for your particular invoice. Next. Verify before you know. One of the things that we must do when you're starting a project in a county is just to do your due diligence, right? Do your due diligence. There's a lot of construction going on in this county, but you also want to kind of look at particular code violations that may be potentially involved in your particular property, right? You want to talk about look at drainage issue. This area had a drainage issue. Permit history. What permits were pulled on this particular project in the past? I'm just going to skim over this a little bit and talk about rental licenses, nuisance properties. We have some properties in our county that are considered nuisances or have been a nuisance. And you want to know the historical issues or historical patterns of that particular, maybe in your neighborhood. There may be a property in your neighborhood that may be a nuisance, right? Unpermitted construction. This is an issue that we, this is a very concerning issue that probably has been, really we can never get to the root of it. But we have people that are literally building not just decks, but full-fledged additions and haven't pulled one permit, right? It's totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. We get 311 calls. I think we have a diligent inspector. He may go out for one and find 5 in the same neighborhood or in surrounding properties. What that does is that creates issues, safety concerns for the resident. If I'm buying a house and someone before me did all this construction on this house, I'm basically the caretaker of that particular construction at that point, right? So, it's important that if you think you want to start a project, look at what needs to be done. Call the Office of Permitting Inspection Enforcement so we can advise you accordingly. And then also the last one is zoning, making sure you start construction for what your areas are zoned for. I've been cued to speed it up a little bit. So next. Community outreach. Next. So we have a lot of good things. We have the business development section. Charles Cooper is in the audience today. He does a phenomenal job in working on projects. I think, and Nicole's not here. Nicole Reese is also available. But they do a phenomenal job in basically working with small business leaders, business corporations on working through various issues that they may have and just getting them to the finish line. Next. DPI Connect is also another available resource that brings agencies and experts and entrepreneurs together. One of the things I will say is, like Larry mentioned earlier, we're having those calls on a regular basis, whereas we're talking, collaborating a little bit more to get everybody across the finish line. Next, so far, went live in May of 2022. So that's basically the highlight on that. Next, DPI newsletters. If you haven't seen one or haven't gotten one, there's tons of newsletters under construction, the Biz and the Hub. You probably, and then in your presentation, you'll be able to go back and see some of the historical patterns of those presentations as well, or see some of the past editions that have been published out. Next. Third Thursday. Third Thursday is held every third Thursday of every month. We have close to, probably about a few hundred people that participate in a round robin kind of conversation. We have various topics. My focus is always, I want our residents to be a good neighbor. I'm not asking everybody to cut their grass every week like I do, but at least cut your grass at least once a month. So we have some residents who are not being good neighbors, and we want to educate them on how to become a good neighbor. All right, next. And videos, again, as I said earlier, once you get the presentation, there will be various videos that you can click on and have access to various topics regarding the agency. Code reminders, just simple reminders. Many of the home-based businesses are prohibited. So, as I travel around the county, there are certain things that you should not do, right? You can't sell food from your house, right? You can't have a nail salon in your house. You can't operate a auto storage unit in your house. You can't work on cars in front of your yard. So there's certain, things where I go back to the basic principles of just being a good neighbor, right? You can't have unsolicited parties every weekend at your house. So those are the things when I talk about being a good neighbor, those are some things you got to kind of stay to. Fines can be up to 23. I don't want to talk about fines, but the word, there are fines associated with when you do not be a good neighbor. So next. What constitutes a code violation? That'll just kind of let I'll keep going on with that. Frequently code violations. So we have, company trucks in front of your yard. You're operating a barber shop. You don't cut your grass. Simple things. Unpermitted driveways, commercial constructions, trash and debris in your yard as well. Next. There's just a few more: parking vehicles on unpaid services, failing to adequately maintain your property, allowing fallen debris on your property, accumulating residential and commercial properties, leaving abandoned properties safe and unsecured. So some of the frequently code violations that we see regularly. I mean, sounds pretty simple, but you'd be surprised the number of these violations that can contribute to the beautification of your neighborhood. Next. Again, check before you buy. So those are some of the hyperlinks we've made them available as well. Next. If you have a particular issue, this is the number you call, PGC 311. We have staff that is dedicated each and every day. They have SLAs where they have to respond within a certain amount of time frame. We're very serious about that. We heard some of the concerns with regards to my 311 request was entered. No one ever responded to. That's something that we're tracking on a regular basis. Next. Publications, if you click or scan this with your phone, you get all the flyers, the booklets, and educational material needed to start your project. And I think that might be it. Here are some of the various contact information. Acting director, myself, and senior advisor. She's not on that one. And then some of the major contacts for the agency. Next. Thank you. So I know I had to read over my time a little bit, and I had to ad-lib, but again, we will be emailing this presentation out. The agency is tirelessly working to serve each and every one of you on a regular basis. I thank you this afternoon.
So thank you very much. And we will be sending that out. There is a lot of good information in there on signing up for those newsletters and keeping up with DPI, and a lot of the links and things that are in there to help you get to those resources. But we are going to be answering your specific questions that you have about DPI. I know there are pre-submitted questions having to do some with use and occupancy permits, as well as some of the staffing and other challenges and how those are being addressed. So we will get and dive into the details of those during the Q&A, which we're going to get to here in just about 5 minutes, because we're going to go to our last presentation with Renee, and I know that Renee is very quick, and so we thank her for that. But also, just real quick housekeeping point. I do have a couple of the questions written that people submitted today. If you have any other questions, just please hold them up. I will come around and grab them from you. I see the two of you now, so I will get those from you, or we'll make sure that our team does. And now we'll go with Renee.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do this quickly. We are the Prince George's County Office of Human Rights. We are the county's civil and human rights, education, and enforcement. So why is that important? It's important because to respect civil and human rights is foundational to having safe neighborhoods, to having quality of life, to having good business investments, and to democracy, quite frankly. And so we came about 51 years ago. We came about as a result of a Prince George's County citizen named Teresa Douglas Banks. And if you go around the county, sometimes you'll see her name at various centers. Teresa Douglas Banks, pictured there, was a mother, she was an educator, she was a wife, she was a community activist. And she shines the light on what we as individuals can do, the difference we can make. She lobbied for this agency to be stood up. The principal reason at that time was really because of what she perceived as a mistreatment by the police department in 1972 of African American, brown, and black communities. And so she lobbied the county council. This was the same year that the county moved to its current form of governance, meaning a county executive, county council, away from the commissioner system that we have in other counties. And so she lobbied hard. She testified at the public hearing. She went back to her seat. She ended up having a heart attack and she died. She is the only person that we know of, when you look at the official bill, that she is listed as a sponsoring honorary county council person. So Teresa Douglas Banks is a light for all of us to emulate. Yes. We are also the first bill, the first law that was passed. So we like to think that is the importance that the county, and there's no one to dispute us, that the importance that the county saw in having a civil and human rights agency. So we operate 4 divisions. When we came to existence, our first division was investigations. We investigate allegations of discrimination. We like to say where you work, live, or play. And in the county exec's blue bags there, we put one of our brochures. But where you work, live, or play. So, of course, employment, that's the main thing that people come to us about, and that's a national average. But we investigate housing, we investigate public accommodations. So if you go to the grocery store or somewhere public and you feel that you have been discriminated against, we are the agency that investigates and enforces those anti-discrimination laws. We investigate commercial real estate and some residential real estate transactions, including a little banking discrimination. We investigate law enforcement discrimination and education discrimination. And we have a whole process on what that looks like and how it is adjudicated. Our second division is human trafficking. And in your bag, some of you will have a pen. And the pen if you pull out, it'll have some warning signs and a way to contact us. Human trafficking is critical. We are tasked with providing the coordinated response in the county to both labor and sex trafficking. Law enforcement cannot do it alone. It requires all of us to understand the signs and the warning signs. You think, oh, we don't have that here. Human trafficking is everywhere. We also find that our faith community plays a large role in identifying particularly labor trafficking. What is interesting is that our victim survivors of human trafficking do not self-identify. So there's no one that will come to us, it is rare, that says, I am being trafficked, right? So please call us. We give free training, we give free awareness training, virtual and in person. I do want to go back first to the investigation division. We also give free training. Any business folks here, we do know your rights as an employee and know your responsibilities as an employer, because we'd rather not investigate an allegation of employment discrimination. So please use us as a resource. We are free. Contact us. Our third division is language access. Under the county executive's administration, the language access program really got up and running. And we have, and we'll introduce in a second, we've got some of our team member here. But language access, it's about an 18-page law, but synthesized down to one sentence says, every person who is seeking county government services, they are entitled to those services in the language of their preference. It sounds very easy, but it is a mammoth task. So up here we have, if you know folks that maybe are not English proficient and you want to learn more about it, we have brochures in English. We have brochures in French. We have brochures in Spanish. We have other brochures in other languages that we didn't bring. So if you have someone who wants to understand about what language access and our compliance program, please contact us. Our last division is public outreach and engagement. And that's where we loop everything back together. Essentially, we're trying to work ourselves out of a job because we want everyone to get along, right? We want everyone to be able to live in a place that everyone feels safe and respected and valued. And so we have robust public outreach engagements spanning all different types of things that we do. We stood up a youth leadership academy 2 years ago, ages 12 to 22, where we are trying to grow social influencers for civil rights, human rights, for social justice, so that when it's not the topic that's on, wherever people go to get their news, that people in our community still understand the key importance of civil and human rights. We also, we oversee a program for any Prince George's resident, and their qualifications, but a Prince George's resident, that's the key, who is under threat of deportation or is detained in immigration. And we partner with CARE. CARE stands for Capital Area Immigrants' Rights Coalition. That service, again, if CARE accepts you, then that attorney is provided free when you go to immigration court. So it's something important to understand. We probably don't have time for our language access video. We'll go to just some of the things that we have done in our public outreach and engagement. And our public outreach and engagement division, we are trying to teach about civil and human rights. We're trying to build community amongst the rich fabric that is Prince George's County. We come from all walks of life. We speak multiple languages. We have different faith beliefs. We have different origin stories. And so we try to build community because we're trying to reduce instances of hate, instances of bias, instances of violence. So just a few of the things that we have done in the past: author programs with the library, with Joe's Movement Emporium, a play, County Reads. We ran with the library this summer 2 weeks, separate weeks for a social justice camp for young folks. And so we are a resource. We want you to use us. Again, we are free. Training of all types. So we are the county's human and civil rights education and enforcement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Renee, and thank you to all of our presenters. Now we're going to get into our question and answer. We have some really good stuff here, a lot of things that go toward DPI, so you guys will be ready for that. But before we do that, I want to give an opportunity. Our police department has been sitting through these presentations, and we do have some security questions. So I do want to start with those, and just a couple of things. In terms of security measures or security things that can be in place to help businesses and to keep maintain safety around businesses, and also recruiting efforts within the immigrant community, if there's anything that's targeted for that.
Well, how y'all doing? I'll be brief. I know y'all want to get to the business. So let me say a couple of things that we have in place for you. It is what we call crime prevention through environmental design. our COPS unit, our community-oriented police officers, can come out to your business if you have a brick and mortar type of business and give you crime prevention tips, how to shore up your building, how to prevent burglaries, robberies, and those kinds of things that help us make our community safer and better. The other thing I would urge you to get involved with those COPS officers, your division commanders. Deputy Chief McCreary, you stand up. That's Deputy Chief McCreary. He's over the Bureau of Patrol, and most of the officers that you see out on patrol, they report to him and his major. What I would urge you guys to do is get with the division commanders, with Deputy Chief McCreary, and enjoin yourself with the business crime watch communities and the residential crime watch communities, because there's a lot of information that is shared around making our community safer and better. And how do you start one, and how do you become engaged? The other crime prevention efforts that we share information with that helps you out is our Citizens Police Academy. Anybody is welcome to come through our Citizens Police Academy every Monday for a couple of hours Monday night. I see a couple of graduates in the room, right there. And every Monday night, a couple of hours, it'll be well worth your time to come spend a little time with your police department and become a member of that, and as well as the Alumni Association. And so those are a couple of ways that we're helping the immigrant community. Our efforts to recruit, this is where we need your help. We have a very viable police department, police service. We're hiring. Every Wednesday, we do tests at the police headquarters at 8081 Presidential Parkway. Some very simple procedures to go through for physical fitness, to take the examinations, to get through the process. And you can make upwards of $68,000 per year. We also have a $10,000 signing bonus. For an experienced police officer, we have a $15,000 signing bonus, and we are hiring. We're a little short right now, so we're counting on you. Some of you look able-bodied in here. I'm counting on you to join the police department today. We're hiring. So, and that means you can see Chuck McGee back here. He'll hire you right on the spot if you come to the back. And if you could, Assistant Chief Hale just said that, we can put some flyers, and you have newsletters, you have websites. You have information you can put on your counter. We have recruiting flyers, recruiting posters, a homegrown campaign. We are really trying to shore up our officers, because cops out here make all the difference in the world working with you in a 50-50 partnership. Those are just a few things. So I think unless you have a question for me, I'm gonna let you get back to the business end. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief. And now, as the Chief said, we'll get into some of the business questions. And we'll start with this one here. If I want to start a small business and have very little starting capital, how can I get financial support? And Larry, I know you talked about some things there, and there may be some other opportunities, but I'll give you an opportunity just to highlight again a little bit of what EDC has to offer there.
In regards to starting a small business, what you still will be in a position of looking for is what we will call gap financing. Our agency is not set up to provide a grant where it will be enough funding in place to start your business. I would suggest that you can have conversations with FFC first regarding getting a low interest loan, SBA loan. The FFC first is an alternative banking source, where I lose track of the number of the regional large banks pour millions of dollars into them. And their sole purpose is to loan money to Prince George's County businesses. That will be my response in that.
Okay, thank you for that. And we have the information on that, so we can also pass this on to FSC first and ask them to reach out to you directly to talk with you and determine your needs and see how they can best assist you. There's another question here, and we do not have a representative here today from our Office of Human Resource Management. But this question is, I have applied to PG County for numerous positions. How can I learn more about recruiting and learn more about the process, and I assume the hiring process and how all of that works? So this question came from Faye Anderson Watson. I will make sure that I get you in contact with the Office of Human Resource Management, who can help you and walk you through some of those processes. So I just want to make sure that you know that we have that and we'll get you connected. There was another question here. There's two questions, a couple of questions we've gotten about grants, and I do want to give Barbara Holt-Streeter from our office an opportunity. One of the pre-submitted questions that we had talked about grant opportunities for nonprofit organizations. So I did want to give Barbara an opportunity just to talk about some of the programs we have in our office that are grants for nonprofits.
Thank you. I am so excited because I want you to take away with the 3 C's: connect, collaborate, and cultivate relationships with all of you because you are our strategic partners. We have grant funding for nonprofits. FY24, the portal will open probably the later part of September. It will be open for about a month. We have $2.5 million available for nonprofits. Over the past 5 years, under the Also Growth administration, we've given almost $10 million to nonprofits, about 268 nonprofit organizations. Every year we're able to give, and we want you to be connected to us so we can help support what you are doing. Save the date, November the 1st. We will be hosting our nonprofit symposium. So what I'm sharing with you today, that portal would have already closed, but as long as we get your email addresses, we will put that in our database. We'll send that information to you about the portal. But the nonprofit symposium, you need to be there because it will be free. We will give information not only what's happening in our department, but across the county at other agencies that also have funding available. How many nonprofit organizations do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Because we have money and we want to help support what you are doing.
Great, thank you, Barbara. Another question we have here, and maybe Dr. Areola may want to touch on this. Do you have veteran-specific programs who you partner with? Or are there other government agencies to serve veterans? So I just thought with that question, I'd give Dr. Areola a chance to talk about what we do in the area of veterans.
And good afternoon, everyone, again. I know that we will provide information to you about Department of Social Services and Department of Family Services, who have several programs that address multiple needs in the community, including housing, rental, seniors, food assistance, and those things. We'll make sure we provide that. But I also know that Dr. Dula is not here, and I'm sure you provide those information to them also in regards to the resource that's available to address the needs of veterans in the county. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Areola. And yes, we will get you connected with those agencies. We have your contact information and we'll have them get in touch with you to talk more about that. There's another question here I just want to touch on briefly, and then I'm going to get into some of these DPI questions. This question, does the county have any programs that partner with churches to provide low-income housing? We've actually done quite a bit in Prince George's County to preserve and create affordable housing units during the Alsobrooks administration. I believe to date, during the administration, we've preserved or created about 5,000 units of affordable housing. So that is something that is a top priority of the county executive. And we actually, I believe there are some programs and some efforts that are ongoing right now. So I will take your information for the person who submitted this question and get you connected with our housing and economic development teams who can talk to you a little bit more about what we have, find out a little bit more about what you're thinking, and see if there's something there that we can work together on. So I did want to now, there are a few questions that I did want to get into for DPI, and I do want to be mindful of everybody's time. So I am keeping an eye on that. A couple of pre-submitted questions that we got. One in particular, and I think these two kind of go together. What is the administration doing to address the service delivery challenges with DPI, and are the staffing issues at DPI being addressed? Because I think we've all heard a lot about, some staffing shortages, and that has impacted service delivery. And as I turn over to DPI, I can tell you the short answer is yes, there is money in the budget to address the staffing challenges, which will help with the service delivery. But I will turn that over to Director Abraham to respond to.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. This question may have been valid about maybe pre-COVID or even right after COVID. Like everybody else in the nation, after COVID, we had, I don't know if you heard the term mass resignation. People were resigning left and right. We're challenging after 2022, I think thereabouts, first part of 2022. But by the end of 22, we caught up. Market, we compete for engineers, engineering technicians, and inspectors with the private sector. Believe it or not, DPI has the lowest vacancy rate from all the agencies in Prince George County. Our vacancy rate was 10%. In a nutshell, we have about 308 people in this department. It's a big department. We used to have 30 positions vacant. We filled all those positions. The county executive gave us 10 more positions effective this last past July 1, because our fiscal year starts July 1. So at the moment, staffing resources, temp, we also have temp staff. We have also contractors. I don't have problems with resources at this moment. So I could say we are fully staffed, we are fully resourced, so we have no excuse at this moment for resources. And I'm not saying this, I'm telling you the truth, not making it up, you can check. So we're ready to serve you. And if I want to add here, I think with regard to small business, I saw it firsthand during COVID. We were doing telework, right? So the people who had large firms, large businesses, the people that have resources, because DPI is almost 100% paperless. Everything we do can be done online, sitting in your living room or in your dining room. So the people who had the resources, the big corporations, I think, did fine during the 2 years of COVID. Fantastic business. The people that suffered were small business owners, like restaurant owners, other small businesses, because of limited resources. Because remember, you have to develop a plan, you have to scan the plan, you have to upload the plan. Everything is electronic. So if you don't have all the resources, then you are at a disadvantage. So when we came back in fall of 2022, and then the beginning of this year, actually, we had a town hall meeting for DPI, February 2023. That's when we heard the pent-up demand by our residents. Our residents could not do additionals, driveways, small things, fence permit, because, that was a different time we had. The COVID thing, you're not thinking about the addition of fence or a deck. You're thinking about surviving. So when this thing blew off, when they came in full force, in the town hall meeting, we heard it all. Legitimate reasons. We got about 60 complaints. And Laurie is here. Laurie worked on those 60 complaints. Follow up. I think we closed all the complaints. So the resources question is not a question anymore. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I think this question ties into a little bit as well. And this may be a little more of a process question. It says, why is it so hard to get a use and occupancy permit inspection? And that sometimes this can be a very long process and it can take a while to actually get the inspection for the UNO. So maybe just highlighting the process or the steps that have to be taken and some things that can cause delays.
I think that's a valid question. The process was cumbersome at some point. Right now, we have streamlined the process. UNO stands for user occupancy. So whether it's an assembly or a kitchenette or a donut shop, whatever shop you have, if it's a business. Right now, if a change of ownership occurs, the UNO would be given to the new owner. And we don't have to do anything. We apply for UNO, of course, as a new owner, right? But invariably, people have to change the location, not the location, but the internal. They have to do work inside the building. So if you have to do work as a new owner of a business, then you need a permit, much more than UNO. You have to get a permit for commercial use, meaning you have to change electrical systems, mechanical systems. You may have to introduce a new kitchenette and all that. So when that happens, it goes beyond DPI. You got to go to park and planning, you got to go to health department if there is a food involved in that. And soil conservation district is the only one that does not touch it because you are doing only inside work, inside the building. When you are doing inside the building work, you are not disturbing outside. So there are certain agencies that do not have to touch it, So suffices to say, right now, I think our permit process is much, much faster than what it used to be. But should you have any problems, you can call on Lamont, call on me, call on Lori here. And we got here Charles Cooper also. Charles is 100% small business. Charles has a lot of experience from Fairfax County, which he brought with him as an experience from his background. And he focused on small business. So we're going to leave our business cards here. You can call me directly if you have any issues with UNO. If you cannot find me, you can call Lamont, you can call Charles Cooper here, you can call Lori, okay? So this has been simplified.
Okay, thank you very much. And again, absolutely, you can reach out directly to DPI, and as the director said, there will be cards here that you can pick up. But obviously, everybody is calling DPI, and one of the reasons that the county executive created the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and the reason why we have the team that we do, is because they are here to directly serve our immigrant communities. So if you're calling any agency, this is not picking on DPI or anything, if you're calling any agency and for any reason having a hard time navigating the process, you can always call the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and they will work with you, and we will work with you to make sure that you get connected with the agency that you need to resolve whatever challenge you're having. So I want everybody to make sure they take away from that that connection is always there. And that is why the office is here. That is a big reason of what we're doing. We are making sure that we are bringing the government to our immigrant communities and working with you as partners and resolving the challenges that you may have. There are two other questions. There are more than two, but there's two I want to touch on real quick just so that we have them and we'll get you connected. The one question here, how do I get grants for new small businesses? I think, again, that's going to be a little more of an FSC first question. So I've already written a note on this one to have FSC first reach out to you directly so they can talk with you about what your needs are and what they can possibly do to help you. I have one other one here, and the specific question is, I need help to start a banquet hall. Now, I will need a little bit of clarification with that. Are we talking about capital? Are we talking about permits? Are we talking about both? Just so that I know who to have reach out to you to help provide assistance. So, if you want to see me after, I'll be here. Just let me know, and I'll make sure that I get you connected to the right people. Couple other questions that I wanted to go over. There were two in the pre-submitted ones that I did just want to touch on because it's some of what we've tried to do here today, and obviously more will be coming. As a Caribbean business owner within Prince George's County, where can I find information about the resources available and how often are they updated? Well, certainly today you've heard some about the resources that EDC has, the resources that OCS has in terms of getting certified and getting involved with all of the different procurement opportunities in the county. A few moments ago, Barbara spoke about some of the resources we have for nonprofits. And what you'll find in the presentations as we email them out is a lot of helpful information, links, phone numbers. So you'll be able to find a lot of resources there, and obviously anyone that needs help navigating them can reach out directly to the agencies, can reach out directly to us. One of the things that we are good at is helping people work through the process. I'll give you an example. We have the Washington International Horse Show and the Capital Challenge horse shows that have come back to Prince George's County. They came back last year and they're here again this year. Walking through the permit process for the person we were working with there, it was challenging for her. So what we did is we got somebody assigned to work with her and go every step of the way through the permitting process to make sure that everything got done. And we are always here and willing to help get people assigned to you who can work with you, and we can help you get your questions answered. Because from my experience, a lot of what I've found, a lot of times, it's just about making that connection. I've had people call me and say, "Hey, I don't know what's going on with this." I'm able to make a call and talk to somebody, and they're like, "Oh, it's actually in this process. It's ready to go," or "I just need this piece of information." We're good. So a lot of times it's just connecting those dots, and that's what we're here for, and we're always happy to help you do that. The other one, a designated contact person for questions and clarifications about the resources available. Again, I want everybody here to feel very comfortable reaching out to the agencies, but I want you to feel very comfortable reaching out to the Office of Multicultural Affairs, to Sam and Sylvia, and I know that Samantha is here. That's why we're here, because we will help you get answers to your question. We will help you get connected to the agencies and resolve whatever the issue or challenges that you may have. So, we'll certainly make sure when we're sending out these presentations, they're probably going to be coming from Sam. So we'll make sure that Sam and the team include their contact information there. So that's something you always have along with all the information that you're receiving from the presentations. There were two other questions, and they're specific questions, but I don't have contact information on them. So I'm just going to read them out, and as we close and as we're all here, for those of you who wrote these, if you'd like to come see us, we'll make sure we get you connected. One of them says, and they've been trying to get a permit for a building on Central Avenue for over a year now. So definitely we want to connect with you before we leave here today. Let's find out what your issue is, and we have DPI here right now, so we can certainly get you connected with them before you leave, so we can start working on that. And another one, and this one is actually something that I was just talking about, in terms of needing assistance filling out forms at each step. The person says that they haven't received notification from DPI or Park and Planning. So if you'd like to make contact with us as soon as we finish here today, we can get you connected with DPI and again see what we can do to help you there, walking through each of the steps. But I wanted you to know that we have these questions and we'd like to talk to you before we leave here today. So with that, I think that we have pretty much touched on all of the questions that were submitted today and covered the main categories of the pre-submitted ones. Certainly we will, we have follow-up to do on some of the ones that were submitted today. We'll look back through the pre-submitted just to make sure that if there's any additional information there that we need to send out, we will. But really, I just want to thank all of you. First, I want to thank our hosts again this afternoon for having us and for opening their doors to us. I want to thank all of our presenters and everyone else from county government who came here today to help answer questions. I really want to thank all of you. I think, we talk a lot about all of the things that the county government does, the county government can do, but we are most successful when we are able to work hand in hand with the community. And in order to do that, we certainly understand that we have to do our part. We have to help you resolve your challenges, but we also need to know what you're encountering out there. Everything that you're doing with your businesses, it helps Prince George's County, and ultimately it helps our government, and it helps all of the residents here. So we are always happy to work with you and partner with you. I do see we have a hand right here.
How old momentum is.
Oh, sure.
And if it's very new, which I thought, then 10,000 permits is a really good record. But, how old is momentum because of one of the staff members I talked to didn't even know, how to use it. So I think it's good.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you because Momentum was deployed about 4 months ago. 4 months in a new perimeter system is kind of, it will take us a month or so to get this thing right. Right now, we are finding out there's a user issue, there is a system issue. We flash out the system issue. The contractor is still on it. He's fast. The response is fast. So, to your point, our customers are still learning how to register because you have to register first to use that system. So applying, once you apply, your application gets screened and then the process follows. Plan distribution, plan review. So it's a growing pains. I gotta be honest with you. If I say it's a slam dunk, it's not a slam dunk. It's a learning process for the customer. It's a learning process for our staff. We're doing training every day on the system. But I can assure you that Momentum will get momentum. It'll be much better. I can guarantee that. Give me a month or 2 months and I'll be humming and rolling. Because the reason I say that is even with the old system called e-permits, there was a recent report that was done on DPI. They didn't say DPI, but Prince George County permitting system. We are ranked number 13 out of 100 municipalities. So the CAO, Tara Jackson, has put a challenge to us, saying by next August, with Momentum being in play, Prince George County will be number 1. Okay, that's a goal. That's a lofty goal. We try to achieve. So, thank you for giving me that feedback about Momentum. Thank you, appreciate it.
All right. Well, with that, I think we have gone through everything. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here today. And again, for those of you that we needed a little clarifying information for so we can help get you connected to the right place, if you could see us here as we wrap up. And for everyone else, again, I've made notes and we'll be having those agencies reach directly to you. And as Sam sends out the presentations, you'll have his contact information and you'll also be able to go through the presentations. And if you have questions about the presentations, about anything in them, please reach out to us about that. We will help you walk through those as well. So thank you very much.